Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Charlie and today I'll be walking you through how to make the Saltwater Slip by Friday Pattern Company. I ended up cutting out a straight size XXL to accommodate my wide hips. And this is the thread I chose. I went with white because that's the only one I had enough of. So first things first, we're going to make the strap binding. You want to put your two binding pieces together at a 90-degree angle like you can see here. And then we're going to pin those in place. And when we sew, we're going to sew along the diagonal. So when you sew this part, it can get a little bit fiddly. I like to hold onto the threads at the back just to help guide it through, like you can see here. After we've sewn that, we're going to cut off the excess seam allowance and press it. First we want to press it in half lengthwise, and then we fold both ends in to that point in the middle and press it again. I was sewing with silk here, so it could get a little bit awkward to handle, but if you're using a cotton or a linen, it should be a lot easier. If you choose to make side ties, then this step is for you. If your fabric is easy to fold and iron, then follow the instructions as per usual by folding it twice and then just stitching down the edge. I had to do it a little bit differently here because I was using silk. I folded it once and then sewed inside the seam allowance, and then I had to turn it inside. You can also choose to use this method if you don't want to be able to see the stitches on the outside of the side ties. It's a little bit more fiddly because you have to do this, but it's an option. Here we have the two finished side ties. Now for step 4, we're going to stay stitch the neckline on both the front and the back pieces. When you stay stitch, make sure to increase the length of your stitches. I have it up to 5 on my machine. For step 5, we're going to place the two back pieces together right side spacing and then stitch all the way along. And then after that, we are going to overlock the raw edge. In steps 6 and 7, we are going to make the strap loops. I had to do this a little bit differently again because of the silk, so I just fold it in half once and then sewed down the edge, and then I trimmed the seam allowance and turned it inside out, which wasn't too bad this time because they're quite short. Moving on to step 8, we're going to mark on the back where we want our strap loops to go. We're going to get our little loop and thread the strap through it like this until it's halfway down. Fold the two ends together, pin it in place where you have marked on the back like that, and then we're going to stitch that down. you only want to stitch about 1/4 inch from the edge, and just what it looks like. Step 9, we're going to attach the neckline binding. So again, I had to do this a little bit differently. I basically ended up doing an extra step, attaching the binding in the way I normally do. So here you can see I just pin it in place opened like that, and then I stitched it down. Then I trimmed the excess seam allowance. Clipped around the curved edge. And then I fold it kind of awkwardly over on itself so it covers up the stitching, and I pin it through from the front to the back so it catches just there, that little bit of the binding. This is so I can stitch in the ditch as opposed to on top of the binding, so you can't really see it. It wasn't my neatest work ever, but you can kind of get the picture. That's the back of it there. Now we're going to sew the darts. So first things first, make sure you have marked where the darts need to go on your fabric. I'm doing it with pins here, that's how I like to do it, or you can use chalk or a marker to draw it on. Then we fold that in half, lining up the notches or the pins, however you like to do it, and pin that together nice and secure. Now we're going to sew from the outside to the inside, stopping at the point there, getting as close to the edge as possible. And this is what the dart should look like when you're done. Now you can give it a good press, making sure to fold the dart downwards. So if you are using the side ties, we are going to attach them now in step 11. First, make sure to mark on your fabric where you want the side ties to go. And then you can attach the side ties where you've marked it. Then we baste those side ties in place, and I forgot to show it here, but you also want to finish the ends of the side ties as well by folding them in and stitching over the edge. Now step 12, we're going to finish the side seams. We're just going to overlook those edges. If you're doing the short one, you go all the way to the bottom, but if you're doing the long one, you need to make sure you stop just at that curved edge there. And you can just sort of twist it a little bit on the overlocker. It's a bit awkward, but just try your best. So step 13 is for the short version. You can just sew all the way down to the bottom for that, but for the long version you need to stop where it's marked on the pattern piece. That's just where the curved edge is. So make sure you mark that, and then when you get to the end you just back stitch in place there. After that, I took it off the machine just to pin the edges together, or I use clips here, to make sure they're lined up. And then we're going to baste down there. So make sure you change your stitch length, get it nice and long, and then go back to where you just finished. And now you're going to keep sewing, but you're just basting it all the way down. And that's what it will look like. So again, this is for the long version. We're going to sew the side slits. You want to fold the edges in like that. It can get a little bit fiddly depending on the fabric you're using, but that's what it looks like. It helps a lot if you press it beforehand too. So when you get to the top, like you can see here, you want to pull the foot up so you can pivot around. You just twist it like that, and then you sew across the top, and then you pivot again. Make sure to keep all the fabric out of the way, and then you can just sew down the other side. Step 17, we're going to attach the strap binding. The strap binding is going to wrap all the way around the back, under your arms, and then it's going to extend up on both sides. So you want to make sure that you line it up correctly. Make sure you find the middle of the strap binding and place that in the middle of the back where that seam line is. So again, I had to do this a little bit. The way to do it in the instructions is definitely a lot faster, but you can do it this way too. So yeah, sewing all the way around there. Make sure to keep those strap loops out of the way too. And then I trim the excess off and try and fold it over. I do it the same way as I did with the neckline. So I fold it just a little bit further on the back and then pin through from the front to the back, catching up just that little bit on the bottom, as you can see here. And then I stitch in the ditch just like last time as well. When you're sewing the straps, you keep those folded in half evenly, but then for me, when I got to the neckline, to the back part, I had to sort of transition to sewing just in the ditch, so I had to come off the edge and then line it up just a little bit below the binding. That's what it looks like from the top. And this is me transitioning the edge on the other side. And here's what it should look like when you're done. Now we're just going to secure those strap loops, so you want to fold them up and pin it in place, and then you're just going to sew along the top there. And now we're going to make the adjustable strap. This is, I think, technically optional. You can just sew it straight onto the back if you want, which is what I did with my other dress that I showed. The shorter version I'll show you at the end, but for this one I did use the adjustable strap. So you can see here I'm folding it through the holes, both holes. Then you move it up a little bit like that, and then you want to fold it through the little circle on the loop at the bottom, and make sure you pull that through a little bit so you give yourself some like wiggle room to work with. So yeah, you pull it through, make a bit of a circle. You want to pass it through the top gap first. And get some more space in there if you need to, and then you can pass it back through the bottom loop like that. After you've got it to the right length, then you can pin it in place, and you're just going to sew along that edge there. It's good to do a bit of a zigzag stitch as well, like the instructions say, just to help with the fraying edges. And here's what it should look like when you're all done. So I chose to skip to step 26, which is where you just remove those basting stitches for the side slits. Because I liked doing the hem that way. You don't have to though, you can do it whichever way you want. So now I sew the hem. You just fold it up twice, pin it in place, and then sew all the way around. And that's it, now you're done. Here is the finished product. I was very happy with this dress. I love it already, especially the long version with the slits and also the side ties. I find without the side ties it can look a bit baggy on me. I don't know, maybe that's because I made it too big. I do like to have the side ties to give it a bit of shaping. And I ended up quite liking the adjustable straps as well. It was a little bit loose around my arms. I think I'd probably grade between some different sizes to fix that next time. So there's a couple of ways you can tie it up to. You can tie it to the back just like this, which is pretty cute, having the little bow at the back. Although with this dress it did make it look a little bit funny at the front for me. I think my favourite way is to wrap it around a couple of times, so either towards the front or the back. So here I am wrapping it around to the front first and then tying out the back, and I think that looks quite nice.
Welcome back, everyone. Hoping you're managing to stay cool on such a hot afternoon.
So here's one I made earlier. This is the shorter version. As you can see, I made it in a cotton lawn, I think. So lightweight. I also did it with the side ties as well. It's kind of hard to see, but it gives it a little bit of shape there. So as I mentioned earlier, I do find this one just a little bit short on me. I don't normally wear dresses that short, but I think with the side ties also on the shorter one, I think that like lifts it up a little bit, so when you have it untied it sits a little bit lower. Also, as you can see here, a little bit loose around my chest. That's because I didn't grade down a size up there, which, you know, when I make it obvious, it looks quite loose, but it doesn't really bother me that much. It's nice to have a bit of wiggle room. So yeah, you can see there how it comes up quite high on my thigh. And here when I undo the side ties, quite a lot of space in there, but I think it still looks cute, especially with like a nice floral pattern like I've used here. Here it is with like a chore jacket that I wear all the time. I thought I'd just put that on to give you an idea of what it could look like. Hi! Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I hope you found this video useful. I just wanted to quickly say if there was anything that you found a little bit unclear or something that you think could be improved upon, I would really appreciate it if you could let me know down below in the comment section. I am completely open to suggestions and constructive criticism of all kinds so that I can try and make these videos as good as they can be and be as useful as they can be as well. Also, if you end up making the saltwater slip, I would really love to hear about that too. Thanks for watching, bye!